So what are a director's duties when a limited company becomes insolvent? Right, this past week I've spoken to quite a few inquiries and they've spoken to other insolvency firms and they've been frightened to death about directors' duties, and it's all sounded really complex to them. So I'm going to make a video now to explain it really, really simply. Now, just before we start, I'm going to tell you what your director's responsibilities are if you're not insolvent. Really simple. You've got to act in the best interests of the company. There can't be any conflicts of interest, and you need to exercise reasonable skill, care and diligence. When you're solvent, your responsibilities lie to the shareholders and generating a profit. But when your big company becomes insolvent, and let me just define becoming insolvent, you can't afford to pay your debts when they fall due, your liabilities are more than your assets, or somebody has got some legal action against you, a CCJ, stat demand or a winding up petition. When your business becomes insolvent, your duties as a director change from the shareholders to the creditors. And you've got to act from that point in the best interests of your creditors and not make their positions any worse. Now, if you are found to be in breach of these directors' responsibilities, the consequences can be pretty harsh. Now, you could be looking at personal liability of some of the debts and disqualification. So it's something to take really serious. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some tips to ensure that if your company has become insolvent, you're still being seen to take your director's responsibilities seriously. Okay. Number one, don't take any more debt on if you know your business won't survive. Don't run up bills with creditors. Don't run up bills with suppliers. Don't rack up more HMRC arrears. 2, don't pay any creditors preferentially. If you've got a pot of money in the bank, you can't pay Joe over the HMRC. You can't play this supplier that you've got a personal guarantee over this supplier that you haven't got a personal guarantee with. Number 3, make sure you keep up-to-date management accounts. Lots of people just rely on their year-end accounts. The problem with that is they're normally 18 months out of date. If you've got reliable monthly or quarterly management information, at least you know how your company's performing in real time. Number 4, keep regular meeting notes. So if you've become insolvent but you're going to continue to trade through it, you need to keep a record of your decision-making process, your justification, your rationale as to why you're continuing to trade. So that might be, I'm insolvent today, but I've got a couple of big proposals out there in the pipeline and I only need one of them to drop in to turn it around. But make sure you keep these meeting notes and keep them on file, because if you end up in a liquidation scenario down the line, they're going to be helpful for the insolvency practitioner, and again they're showing that you're taking your fiduciary duties very seriously. Ensure HMRC or your HMRC filing is up to date. Get your VAT returns in on time. Get your year-end end accounts done. Okay, so keep HMRC, all your filings up to date. Continue to speak to creditors, informing them of the company's financial situation. If you're getting creditor pressure, and you're just not responding to them, you're burying your head in the sands, that's where you're going to get bailiff action. You're going to get enforcement action on your door. That's where you're going to get a winding up petition through the post. It's really important that when you become insolvent, or you worry that you're becoming insolvent, is you speak to creditors and keep them abreast of any developments. And that might just be, hello ABC Limited, I'm sorry I still can't pay the invoice, but I'm going to check in again with you next Friday. Really, really important. Now, if you've become insolvent, it's really, really important that you take advice early and explore options. Because although you've become insolvent, if you take advice early enough, there might be some rescue and recovery options. You know, you might be able to raise some finance. You may be able to refinance some assets in the business. You might look at something called a company voluntary arrangement. You might look at an administration. There's lots and lots of options, but the longer that you leave it, the less chance of getting a favourable outcome. And finally, if you take insolvency advice and the advice is to put the business into liquidation or administration, it's important you do this promptly. Don't go and get the advice and get the proposal and then bury your head in the sand for 6 months, because that shows that you're not acting responsibly, and it might mean that you've started to trade insolvently. So directors' duties when you become insolvent, listen, the spotlight's on you. If you end up in a liquidation, the insolvency practitioner is going to look how you have behaved on the run up to that company getting closed down. And again, if you're found to be in breach of these duties, that's when personal issues arise with liquidations. So I hope you found this video useful. Any questions, drop them in the comment section below. If you enjoy our videos at First Business Rescue, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for your time. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.